So welcome everyone. Welcome to our class, Mr. Nee. It's our pleasure to host you here in virtually in our class. So as I mentioned to you, this is Supply Chain SCM 466. The course name is Global Trade Management. So, but we have a significant emphasis on international logistics, international supply chain. So Wanxiang as a global company, I think your participation will be extremely valuable to our students. And then also give you a quick background information about the students in the class. So all of them are either supply chain majors or international business majors. So they should have a great interest in your talk. And then also I want to explain Mr. Nee's background to you. As I mentioned to you, Mr. Nee is the president of Wanxiang, North America. And then he started a business with less than $20,000. And then this is many years ago, turned into the company into $1 billion company. So he will share his insights with us today about how Wanxiang grew in the U.S. And also Mr. Nee is very dedicated, committed to improve China-U.S. economic relationships. And then he's involved in a lot of activities, try to promote the healthy relationship between two countries, particularly the Midwest and then China. So let's get started. So Mr. Nee will give introduction about the company first, and then we will discuss the topics that of our interest. So Mr. Nee, should we start?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay, so nice to meet everyone, and thank you, Professor Chen, for the invitation. And I've been helping like a Harvard Business School and some others many times. So I think the best format, the best way is that I'm going to be very short about the company overview, and then I think we open for more interactive dialogue. And please feel free to ask any question, and no question will be a bad question. So don't worry about it. If it's a political, if it's a personal, I'm the firm believer that more we can have, candidate conversation, more we can accomplish for both sides. So let me just go through the Wanxiang America very quickly. This picture is our headquarters in Elgin, Illinois, which is about 4 or 5 hours, driving from I think from Des Moines.
James, Iowa.
Iowa, yeah. And so the company, I registered the company when I was in the school in Kentucky, Lexington. So we officially started in 1994. Actually, today the company is still as a Kentucky company. Although we have many operations in the United States. So here we say about 20, actually, depending on any given time, we may have anywhere between 24, 25, 26, 23. Right now, actually, we have this one probably is a couple months old. We have 24 in 24 different states. And our main business is still, the core business for Wanxiang is the automotive components. And but we also involved in the clean tech and also many other investments, including the real estate, high tech, and logistic. In fact, there's one logistic company we own out of California as well. And we have invested a lot of dollars in the United States, and our return has been pretty good. And so that's the reason we feel very comfortable to keep investing. Next page, please. So this is the map, and to show that our operation. So as you can see, we are pretty much in the Rust Belt area, and those are our heavy manufacturing on the. I would say, in the Rust Belt as well as south east part of the United States. But also we do have a few, as I mentioned, like one of the logistics companies out of California. We also have several clean tech initiative on the West Coast as well. Next page. So one of recognition that Wanxiang had been mentioned in the United States is a job saver. So basically, when the USA run into economic recession back in the 2008, 2009, during that time, we bought quite a few automotive component suppliers who at that time either went into the bankruptcy or went into the liquidation. So for example, we bought a plant from Ford. Ford was shutting that one down. And so we work very closely with UAW and to move the facility out of Ford's campus. And that company is doing extremely well. One of our trophy manufacturing operation in Detroit right now. And also we work with Chrysler at that time. One of the Chrysler's supply went into the bankruptcy and actually into the liquidation. And we got a call from the management team and who came here, asked us to, try to save the business. So we worked closely with Chrysler. They actually financed the deal. And again, that company is doing extremely well. We quadrupled the size in the last 15 years. So there are many of those kind of very interesting, story that got media's attention. Even today, for example, there's a big strike by UAW in Detroit for the last few weeks. And many of the company we bought from OEM, they are also UAW plants. But knock on the wood, all those companies after we took it over, we never had any strike nor any labor dispute. And so we have a kind of different policy, different philosophy in terms of how we share the growth, and that united everybody together very, very nicely. Next page. So this is sort of our platform, and so as you can see, we counted, 1 out of every 2 vehicles in the United States are using Wanxiang's product. So our product are more for undercar related, and those are we typical call suspension, brake system, and powertrain system, chassis system, and it could be from a small passenger car all the way to, it's not on here, to Caterpillar's earth mover. Next page. And this is one of the operation we have in California, in outside of LA. And this is a vehicle company. In fact, several of the Harvard Business Case study talk about this initiative. So as you can see, on the right hand side, the picture is for the Karma car, and this has been actually a very interesting, controversial case. The debating point is that, is this the right movement for Wanxiang, and or what is the Wanxiang's goal? But nevertheless, this car gets a lot of attention. They are, been named several years as a luxury green car of America. Next page. And this is also, showing the Karma's location. And again, this vehicle was made out of Finland, Europe, and 2015. Actually, at that time, we were in the White House with, at that time was Vice President Biden. He urged us to move that back to the United States. So at the end, we did move the manufacturing facility from Finland back to California. Next page. And also, this is we call the clean energy sector. And in addition to the vehicle, the electrical vehicle, we also, at a very early time, we work with the state of Illinois. In fact, the Governor Quinn came 3 times to push us to build a solar plant. And that solar plant is still there. And, we used in fact, yesterday they just shipped another container to South Africa, for the USA made solar panels. And this one obviously, is our further commitment to the clean energy industry. Next page. And there are more pictures. And again, this is the only greenfield manufacturing plant we built from scratch. And all other plants, 20-some plants in the United States, another 8 in Mexico, were all through acquisition, as I mentioned. But there was no acquisition candidate for solar panel plants in the United States 15 years ago. So we built it from scratch. And then this is another company, we bought through the bankruptcy. And this one was considered U.S. New technology flagship manufacturing plant. In fact, they got $250 million from Department of Energy. And when they have the opening, this was originally from MIT spin-off. And then it became the symbol of the new industry of the United States. But they were a little too early to come to the industry, so couldn't survive. So the company called A123, they are still, the best name in the U.S. market for lithium-ion batteries. And so now they still have an operation in Detroit as well as outside of Boston. And then we have a manufacturing facility in China as well as in Czech Republic, Germany, and other places. Next page. And from 2016, we decided that to further expand into the technology investment. So technology investment at the time, we tried to pick and choose, say which technology might be more interesting or more potential. So looking at all the spectrum, and we decide, the digital health could be a very nice potential. So since then, we invest a lot in those digital health industries. And most of the companies are doing very well. Some of them are, extremely well. And a few of them, just like any VC investments, a few of them are not doing that well. Next page. And so this page is more for, we call the AI, or, autonomy driving or connectivity. It's related to automotive industry or manufacturing business. And some of them are like an energy company, some of them are, software companies, some of them are chip company. and hydrogen, and a couple of them are autonomous driving car company as well. And again, similar to the digital health, some of them are doing very well, and some of them are struggling, especially in the last 12 months. The U.S. technology investment has a significant challenge in terms of valuation. So we see, a significant headwind at this moment. Next page. And Dr. Lu, he was considered as a blacksmith in China, and he was the founder of Wanxiang Group in China. And back in the 1969, he started the business with $500, and in fact, the private business was not legally allowed in China at that time. So he struggled, including deal with all those government issues. But nevertheless, he became the hero uh, in terms of representing China's economic reform in the last 50 years. Unfortunately, he passed away 2017. Then 2022, he was inducted into the Automotive Hall of Fame. And so this is a great honor. Last year, we were in Detroit, and Mr. Lamborghini, who's the founder of Lamborghini and a few others, were all inducted into the Automotive Hall of Fame. So he is the legendary story in China. In terms of, he also people call him like an evergreen. Next page. Due to Wanxiang's performance in the state of Illinois back in the 2010, they did a very good job. They pick a day, August 12th, 1992, 10 years ago from 2002. August 12th was the day I arrived in the United States. So they pick a 10 years anniversary, named that day as a Wanxiang Day in the state of Illinois. And so we celebrate every year, after that on August the 12th. Next page. And this is one of the, letter from the governor of Connecticut when we took over, as I mentioned, the company from Chrysler. And when Chrysler was shutting that one down. And, again, this is a perfect example how we work together with, government agency, with local union, with other stakeholder like Chrysler as a major customer. Next page. And those are Harvard business case. And it was interesting, when they initially approached us for the case one, and then they followed up, want to write more chapters. And so they did a case B and a case C. And I was told that they made pretty good money because they're selling those cases to other universities.
By the way, Mr. Ni, so these three cases are the reading assignment for the class in the last week. So we all read. Yes.
Okay. And due to our, growth and also our commitment to the U.S.-China relations, and there was a lot of press coverage on Wanxiang's development in the United States. So those are the few, there's a lot more, And actually, we were pretty happy because not a whole lot of them are negative. Most of our press articles is very positive, so it's a little surprising. And this is uh, from Mr. Hank Paulson. He was the Goldman Sachs CEO, and then he became under President Bush Jr. He became the Secretary of Treasury, and so he talked about how company like a Wanxiang should work in a global environment, and basically connecting the East and the West. And so we appreciate obviously his complimentary. Next page. And as one of the program, since we have our own solar plant in Rockford, Illinois, and we set up a program called the Solar 1000. So we would like to donate the solar panels to 1,000 local schools. And those list the representative schools, most of them are in the state of Illinois that we, install the Wanxiang solar panel there, more for education purpose than the energy provider. And those are the pictures for each of the school when they install the Wanxiang solar panels. Okay, and I saw that I only needed 10 minutes. Actually, I was wrong. It took me about 20 minutes. So again, as I say, I'm more than happy to have open dialogue and to share what I know, or I could even have my own questions, So anyway, back to you, Professor Chen.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ni. So as that's a wonderful presentation, and then give us something to start with. And then also, I believe most of people in the class probably did not realize the parts in your cars were made by Wanxiang, right? So that's a global company, and then also it's an interesting company to do some study on. So now, actually, as I mentioned, we all read those 3 Harvard Business School cases, and then I hope the class, if you have any questions you want to ask Mr. Ni, directly. So this is a really wonderful opportunity for us to learn more about Wanxiang, to learn more about supply chain and international business. Okay, so whoever wants to start. Yeah, go ahead. Yes, Jillian.
So you guys are working for like clean energy with solar. Are you looking to expand into other forms of clean energy?
So, yeah, we're working with, clean energy is one of our commitment. And, but maybe you can rephrase your question again. I lost a little bit.
Yeah, so are you guys looking to expand into other forms of clean energy or like other renewable resources other than solar, like wind or anything like that?
Yeah, again, there are 2 sides of the coin here, right? One is that our commitment in terms of our slogan right now is to make the air cleaner, which is great. But also, let's not forget this is a business as well. That's always my view. And we're running the company, so we have a responsibility to our shareholders as well as to our employees. So we need to make sure the business itself is sustainable. So from that perspective, clean energy is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful story. But in the meantime, we need to find a viable long-term business solution. And so to answer your question, Wanxiang is heavily involved in the wind farm, and but not in the United States. And we also are looking into many other new technology, such as, for example, I was talking with Governor Quinn just a few weeks ago, for those thermal, thermal pump. And so this is one of the technology that the United States is leading in the world, and to use the energy under the ground, the heat under the ground to provide more energy resources. So the simple answer is yes, we are very active looking for all kind of energy, clean energy potentials. As I mentioned, the hydrogen, one of the areas, the hydrogen. Another one is a carbon capturing. And those are all very interesting technology, and they're not really mature in a way that you can do the mass production yet. But the breakthrough from the technology will make those business case economically viable, which is we're working hard on at this moment. So yeah, to answer your question, we are very active looking, although we try to balance between a dream and the reality. The dream is that we want to make the air cleaner. The reality is we also want to make sure this is a sustainable business, not just a dream.
Thank you, Mr. Ni. That's a great answer because for sustainability, there are three pillars. We all agree. It's in economic or financial, and then social, and then environmental. So what Mr. Ni basically said, you cannot just pursue one aspect of sustainability, and then it has to be economically viable. So that's awesome. And then any other questions? Yes, go ahead.
In terms of buying the Fisker Karma versus doing a clean sheet design for getting into EVs, what made that decision economical besides just the cost savings of the design already being done?
Yeah, I couldn't hear you very well. You say beside buying the comma or something?
Yeah, so in terms of buying the Fisker Karma design,
Okay.
what are the advantages of that besides just the cost and R&D saving?
You mean as a consumer buying the vehicle or as us to making the vehicle?
Yeah, in terms of you buying the design.
Oh, in terms of we buy this company,
Right.
what's the benefit of buying this company?
Yeah, versus creating your own clean sheet design other than.
Oh, okay. Okay, I got it. I got it. I got it. I would say, again, there's no definitive solution, all based on the circumstances. At that time, Fisker Karma went into the bankruptcy. That was a 2013, I think. And so we were not a buyer, honestly. I mean, I can share more the story. We were not a buyer because, again, I'm trying to be practical. And at that time, I had a concern because, again, electrical vehicle is a wonderful story, but due to the battery cost at that time, I just couldn't see that is well accepted in the market because consumer were not ready yet, and we don't have we didn't have the charging station, and the cost of the battery itself could be more than the vehicle, the regular vehicle. So I had a significant concern. However, at that time, uh, we already bought the A123, which is the battery company. At that time, Fisker Karma was the largest customer of A123. And A123 was the largest vendor of Fisker Karma. And also A123 was a shareholder of Fisker Karma as well. So because we did very nice turnaround for the A123 battery company, and so those shareholders, which in the bankruptcy, they became a creditor. So those creditors came back to us and they say, hey, can you guys, just like you did on, A123, can you buy this company? So we actually struggled to say, okay, we can take a look at it, but we don't know, whether this is the best business case here. And in fact, we have more internal debate. Our chairman, he wants to have a Wanxiang electrical vehicle. And I was more negative. And I just say, this is going to burn a lot of cash. I'm not sure if this is, from business point of view, this is the right thing to do. And in fact, at that time, the governor from Delaware, as well as one of the senator from Delaware, they reached out to me and to say they're going to issue public announcement. They want to see Wanxiang become the owner of the Fisker Karma. So anyway, so with all those different parties involvement, And at the end, our chairman decided that we should take over this business. So now back to your question. Wanxiang at that time, it was designing and making its own electrical bus, not electrical car, but electrical bus. And so when we look at this asset has a good foundation. I won't say they have a perfect solution because the car itself at that time, when we took over, has about 258 quality issues on the vehicle. So there's a lot more to be fixed. And also the technology itself is evolving very quickly. But the core technology, which is the battery, we already own. So it's okay. And so we look at it, we say, it's not perfect, but it already has a couple thousand users, and the car has been on the road, and our chairman has the dream. So we say, okay, let's just do it. And it will, the vehicle is already being, highway safety approved, everything's done. So you can save a few years. In fact, I have a story to share. And after we bought this company, we also debate about whether we want to make this as a car company or as a technology company. And obviously, my preference is that this world doesn't need another car company. And if we can become the electrification technology company, it has a lot more value to the shareholder. But our chairman say, hey, I just have a dream. I want to see a Wanxiang made electrical vehicle. So again, he's the founder, he's the chairman. So we say, okay, let's just do it. So 2014, I think we closed the transaction in 2014. 2015, I invited a partner of ours and became the CEO of Akama. And I told him, I gave him 2 years to launch the vehicle. And he did a very nice job, successfully launched this vehicle. So the vehicle was ready at the end of 2016. And then 2017, when our chairman, he was under, some significant health issues. So he was at the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota. And everywhere he goes, everywhere he went, he wanted to have a comma calendar. We made a comma calendar with all the vehicle pictures. So he just wanted, as soon as he wakes up, he can see those pictures. And and then only a few months after that, he passed away. So I feel that, we did our job and to accomplish what he had been dreamed for. So so I feel that, we did our fair portion of the responsibility. So anyway, this is a long answer to your short question. Sorry.
Thank you.
Do you have a follow-up question?
Yeah, I guess the other follow-up question is that some of the technology on the Fisker Karma was extremely cutting edge for its time, and we haven't seen it again, namely the solar panel on the roof. Why do you think that we don't see that as much with other EVs?
Again, this is all about, being a nice car, be a technology car versus be, economically feasible. For example, we have, I always have a dream, the car should not be as a car. The car is like your cell phone. And your cell phone, obviously you have a function to make a phone call. But today you use your cell phone based on all different apps. So for Karma, it is a transportation tool. That is no question. It's like your phone, cell phone for phone call. But the Karma can have many other functions. If you have an open platform, many of those, application can be put on because it's like it's your mobile, And so, for example, we have a technology company, and it's a camera can look through your eye and to detect early symptom of your you know, your heart issues, your blood issues, and so stroke, heart attack, or whatever. But the request that you have to sit in front of the camera every day for 3 minutes, so they read through, they can compare whatever the image from the last year, last yesterday, and so on and so on. So this is perfect because we can add it on the vehicle when you sit in front of your steering wheel. They will record that and then send those to your doctor, so your doctor can monitor that for you. Perfect, right? It's perfect. The question is that affordable? Or how many people? There are definitely people want it, but not most of people want it, because most people felt that, hey, I'm still young, I don't need that function. So answer your question, Karma does have a lot more technology coming to the vehicle. For example, again, this is the Karma team told me. I have no way to say yes or no. But the point is that the Karma team say they have the best connectivity. And the vehicle, the vehicle is yours, but it's not really yours because the vehicle belongs to the manufacturer, which is Karma. They will be in the vehicle every night, and to upgrade your software, to do all kinds of things. And I remember 2018 when we hired 17 actually, when we hired a new CEO, the Karma team called me and they say, hey, just want to report the new CEO has not joined the company yet. They gave him the vehicle, and they find he was speeding at this location at this time for more than 10 miles, and this location this time. So I asked them a question. I say, you guys monitor all your vehicle? They say we don't necessarily monitor them, but the vehicle has such a the system. They can send a signal back and tell us if the vehicle is in abnormal condition. And when you speed, it will trigger, the screen will show up. And so those are very interesting function, obviously solar roof. And actually the new one, it does have a solar roof, and the solar roof now can power the vehicle. It used to be only to power the low voltage accessories inside the vehicle. Now they can power the vehicle, but the efficiency of the solar roof is not big enough. So while they can power the vehicle, they can only produce the electricity for maybe 2-3 miles a day. So it's insignificant. So it's more cosmetic than reality.
Thank you, Mr. Ni. Actually, I have a follow-up question about the EV topic, because as you mentioned earlier today, so auto parts used to consider auto parts as your core business. And then now in the US and then worldwide, there's the momentum, the trend of switching to EV. It seems that getting more and more momentum. And then even for the current UAW strike, the union is concerned about the switch into EV will cause more workers to lose their jobs. So my question to you is, you run several dozen of companies in the US. So any of your companies, factories are affected by the switching to EV from traditional fossil fuel powered vehicles?
Yes, that's a very good question. And again, in the business, you have to be you have to be awake, and the market will change. Not just the EV. There's many other things, right? Geopolitical, technology, and consumer behavior. So I remember 2016, I think, one of our major competitor came to Wanxiang. They brought us a crystal, paperweight. It shows the celebration of their 250 years anniversary. That company is a well-respected company in the industry. So we were talking about the 250 years history. What did they have learned that they could share with us? Obviously, they say 250 years ago, they are heavily in aircraft, you know, business as well as automotive. So they say obviously 250 years ago there was no airplane, there was no car. So, but they become the the leader in both industries by adapting themselves into the new environment. So I remember about maybe 5 years ago or even earlier, I went to several of our company. I said, guys, the best funeral is the funeral that you can prepare for yourself. Now you can tell people what you wanted them to hear, and you can invite the people that you only want to invite. So I say, let's start to prepare for our own funeral. And obviously the CEO's question is, oh, what are you talking about? I say, your business is going to go away. They say, oh, no, 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 it's not. But I say, it's not that when the whole business disappear. Let's just be very candid. When, as long as you have a 5 or 10% market shrink, right? And 5-10% market volume reduction could cause 100% loss of your profitability. The reason for that is you still have 100% of capacity to fight for 90% of volume. So now everybody is going to have to kill each other. And you have to reduce the price to the point that nobody really make money. I say, I don't want to be in that business. That's not our job. So let's prepare to exit those business. And or unless you have, again, I'm calling that a funeral. Unless you can tell me that, you can harvest the cash, still make money. So some of our company react very well to those challenges. And in fact, the company we bought from Ford, they are one of our trophy company. They are about over $1 billion sales. Last year, they successfully transformed. After 5 years, they successfully transformed to all electrical vehicle. So all the new business they are booking is only from electrical vehicle, no longer combustion engine vehicles. And now they have more electrical vehicle business than the combustion engine business, combustion engine vehicle business. So, but they still have a 5 to 10 years to go. So I would say, and also now they start, and I say, okay, let's just call, evolving, reforming, but that's not a revolutionary. Let's look at a new product that could be revolutionary. And that means that you create a new demand, not the existing demand. You create a new demand. So they actually they put a team, and those team are like Vanguard team, and their job is to fail. And I told them, more time you fails, and I will be happier, because I want to see you guys give a try. You fail, then you try again. You fail, you try again. Eventually, you're gonna break through. The issue is not whether you will fail. The issue is that if you give a try. So I would say, most of our company, but there are a couple of them are more, oh, I'm okay. Customer need us. And our slogan is always, if you disappear tomorrow, anybody miss you in the industry? If nobody miss you, you shouldn't be in the business, because you have no value. If your business is replaceable by your competitor, like a blink of an eye, that means you absolutely should not even exist. So that is always our standard to all the business. Say, are you going to be missed if you disappear tomorrow? And that, keep the company young, energetic, and also very nimble in a way to deal with macro environment. And that's how we grow. Otherwise, I would say, a lot of, I call this as from numb to dumb. And if you become isolated from the market, from the demand, from the customer, then you become, you know, eventually you become a dummy company and you will die. So anyway, that's what we have been doing.
But this is a great answer, actually. I know it's a long answer, but you explained things very well. There's a lot of wisdom in your answer. I saw like a lot of people in the class are nodding their heads. I totally agree. Companies should not be content what they have achieved. In the future, whether they can embrace the new technologies. So one other example, just to reinforce Mr. Ni's point, is, and if you know, digital cameras were invented by Kodak. Yeah, so Kodak invented the technology, but it's never embraced the technology. And then now it's, they're no longer the leader in that sector. And then, so that's just another quick example. Any other questions to Mr. Ni? Supply chain perspective, from international business perspective? Yes.
I'm just curious in general, what is a mistake that you've made in your career and how have you learned from it?
I'm sorry, I heard you say state and a career. That's the only two words I heard.
You want to repeat it? I don't know.
Yeah, so Isabel basically gave you a very good interview question. So she asked, what's the biggest mistake you made in your career, and what lessons did you learn from that mistake?
Yeah, we ask ourselves many times, and I'm very similar to our chairman and Dr. Liu. And in terms of personality as well as the mindset, so there's good for the business. But I did tell him once, I say he was the burden to the business growth. And he said, why you say that? And I say, same to me, And one time we were looking at, actually, this is a Harvard Business School's question as well. And so I thought seriously, look backward for the last 10 years, 20 years at a time, say, what is our largest mistake? Then I concluded is that the largest mistake I made was that we did not want to make a mistake. And I'm naturally very, very conservative. And our chairman has a perfect example to talk himself. And I'm similar, as I mentioned. He say he's going to be like, standing on the bank and looking it through the river or creek. There's many fish swim by, and he just keep watching. And then he will put his hand down into the water. When he pulls his hand out of the water, there's going to be a fish in his hand. He does that very well. Every single time, there's a fish in his hand. Now, the problem is that while he catch one, he probably missed 99 because he's too conservative. He doesn't want to get wet. If there's no fish, he can be sure he can get. So the classic example was in the 2008, 2009, we were given a lot of opportunities. And, every deal we did, we have IR, internal rate of return for more than 100% per quarter. So now in the normal course of business, if you have IR, in a double digit for a year, you're doing a good job. We have 3 digit every quarter. So after 10 years, when I look back, I think the largest mistake is I should have tripled the activities at that time. We should have buy a lot more company, and we could have make a lot more money. And there might be one or two will fail, but at the end, we let the opportunity become the cost, not the opportunity to us. And that's, I would say, is our largest mistake. Now, the question is, am I going to be able to change that? I'll be honest with you, in our life, the most difficult part is changing your own mindset. It's very difficult. And even I can be rational to tell myself, say, hey, let's take some risk. But at the end, when you come to the deal valuation, you will go back to the same spot. And you will say, oh, here's the risk, here's the risk, here's the risk. It doesn't work for us. So I'm trying to push myself, but I'm not sure. Be honest with you, I'm not sure if I have changed a lot, and that is costing the company a lot of opportunities.
Thank you. I think that what you explained is very well. So the mindset, what you have has a lot to do with how many new task challenges you're taking on. And also, I think that's a great analogy about catching the fish. So that's like for supply chain, we're talking about the trade-off, the balance all the time. So whether you want to, get, how to balance different sides of considerations. So here, what Mr. Nee said is the same. You want to get your hands wet, or you want to catch more opportunities. So that's perfect answer. And then any other questions?
Yeah, I want to add on to Professor Chen. I want to add on to what you just made a comment about, those global logistic. I want to share one story. After I left Kentucky, I moved to Chicago to be more, dedicated to the business. So I visited many customers. And, when I was in the school, I learned, I was in economics. And so my major was microeconomics, talking about the game theory. Game theory is more to deal with information cost. And so interesting part is that when I, try to visit those customers, say, hey, give us a business, and we're very cost competitive because we're from China. At that time, the lesson I learned is actually from one customer. He said, Pin, are you going to get the product from China? I said, yes. I said, we're very cost competitive. He said, that's not going to be my question. He said, as long as your product is from China, I'm okay with your cost. However, he said, I just don't want to hear from you at a later time. The train got derailed, the boat got sunk, and your plane caught fire, and your plane got flooded. And so he talked like 10 different reasons. And then he say, the last one I heard it before is you have a Dragon Festival, so you don't have enough people working. And at that time, I didn't even know what a Dragon Festival is. So he apparently know China better than I do. So he say, you better give me a new excuse when you cannot make a delivery. He said, what I care is that when I need a product, can you have the product at my door, or you're going to shut my line down? So that was the lesson, that actually became our very, very, very powerful weapon in the way that we can sell at a higher price than our competitor, and our customer are still happier about our service. So you can call this a service, but I call you gave the customer the assurance with all the uncertainties in the global logistic, because it is very true. This is a 10,000, 7,000 miles away, right? The plant is on the other side of the planet. You don't know what the hell is going on there. You can have all kind of risk, all kind of excuse. And the customer, if their line is done, the cost is just way too high. So our job, we did many different things to deal with those concern about the risk that exists in the global logistics. So I just want to share that with you. So in our business, you would say, hey, logistics is just one small piece. And then the customer cares about the price. That's not necessarily true, at least at the beginning, as I said, our customers more focused on how do they feel comfortable that we can deliver as what we promised to deliver, and how we gave them the assurance all those risk factors in between, a point A, point B are sufficiently addressed, and that we have a backup plan. So anyway, so I just want to make that comment. And since that is Professor Chang, you mentioned that, and I saw that was a very interesting observation at the time.
Right. So, Mr. Ni, actually, this is a really good leading to my next question, because what you said about for the auto parts customer, they value the service. I totally agree. What they're buying from you is not only the parts, is the solution, you can provide to them. So actually, you mentioned about logistics. I'm guessing, so you have dozens of factories here in the U.S. So one of the reasons is to have factories in the US is to provide better services to your American customers. So is that the case? And so that's one question. Another one is, I was really impressed with how Wanxiang is keeping low profile, when you enter the US market. And then in the current geopolitical environment, I think it looks even much more wiser. So when there is the trend for American companies to reshoring, relocate operations in the US, so having factories in the US, I believe it has given Wanxiang a great advantage. Would you agree with that comment? So I'll get back to you.
Yeah, so I would say, we have a manufacturing facility in the United States is not just for one particular reason. I would say that is overall, a balance for the business case. And so there are many factors here, obviously. One is that we could buy those assets at a very competitive price. And it is very true that the manufacturing cost in the United States, if you talk apple to apple, is very expensive. And so that will reduce your competitiveness. However, on the other side, again, I always called that when you have product that is closer to the end, then those products should be made closer to the customer. What I meant here is that, for example, let's say the furniture, and in the old time, let's say you have a desk, a table, wooden table. In the old time, I call those as a village economy, right? The village economy means that you're going to grow the trees, and you're going to do the lumbering. They're going to cut it down, and you're going to make wooden surface, and then you assemble them together. It's fine in a village economy, but no matter whether it's in Iowa or Chicago, the weather's too cold. To grow the tree take a much longer time than what you can do in Southeast Asia, for example, Indonesia or Brazil, even, right? So with the global economy, that naturally people want to go to those warm weather place to grow the trees, because tree can grow a lot faster. And then, the tree can be from Indonesia, and the lumbering could be in Malaysia, and cutting down to the pieces could be in China. But then in the end, the consumer are still here. The consumer knows whether the style they want. The consumer may have, different taste. So it will make a lot more sense for you to bring all those pieces and we call the components to the United States. And depending on the consumer's preference and taste, you put them together here. So I call this is still a USA manufacturing. The manufacturing fact is focused on the technology, focused on customer preference, and so you can compete. And in fact, by doing that, you gave customer assurance that all those global logistic risks mitigated by yourself. That means you need to have more. If you want to bring them from Malaysia, you're just going to have more inventory. You're going to have an inventory to deal with 1 month, 2 months delay. So that is definitely, the nature of the business. And talking about our, does that give us an advantage? Absolutely. I give you example during the COVID, it was a lot of onshore friendly shore initiative by customers, right? Customers say, what if China and the USA end up in a war? We cannot take that risk. So we want to bring them onshore, or we're going to bring them to friendly countries for all those components. But the COVID, on the other side, put a brake on that, and it just completely stopped those initiatives because people just couldn't travel to any other country to revalidate those supply chains. Supply chain is a very, very, very complicated. I mean, even talking about fiscal karma, you would think the technology is the challenge. But for fiscal karma, I can be very honest, is the supply chain. Because, as a vehicle company, you're going to deal with 10,000 components. When you don't have the volume, when you deal with the supply all over the world, it's a very, very complicated task. And in fact, that is the number one reason many of the startup vehicle company, they cannot survive. They just couldn't fix their supply chain. So I would say, Professor, your second question about, onshore reposition this global supply chain, I can still see that as a significant challenge, even for us. We are moving our supply chain, our manufacturing base outside China very aggressively for the same reason, to deal with geopolitical tension. But it's not that easy. And I think you guys all heard that, in the solar panel industry, they call the Southeast Asia, as a destiny for washing those panels. Means that you just ship them down there, and then you ship them to the United States, and the claim they were made in Malaysia or Indonesia. And Congress was not happy with that. U.S. Customs has the right to stop that. But the administration, just 1 second, please. Hello? Okay, thank you. Yeah. So the Biden administration is giving exemption, and because they don't want to hurt the U.S. Clean tech or clean energy industry. But that just shows how difficult. It's not that easy to do. But it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and in fact, as I mentioned, more of the geopolitical attention will be counterproductive in terms of a global reposition, because people don't want to travel. If people don't want to travel, they cannot get a new supply qualified. If they cannot get a new supply qualified, you're not going to move out of China to another country. So those are all, entangled together. And I wish there was a much simpler solution, which is not,
So this is a great answer, actually. Mr. Ni, we only have 5 minutes left, so I'll ask you one quick question we can sum up. So my last question, because we talk about sustainability from economic, from social, from environment. So you talk about economic already, environment already. So I do want you to quickly touch on how Wanxiang is dealing with the social sustainability. Because you mentioned UAW, a lot of your plants, you have, workers or members of UAW, but none of your plants experience any strikes. So what did you do to treat your employees well, make them happy? And then, so this falls into the social sustainability aspect. Can you quickly comment on that?
Yeah, so we're all part of the society, right? So we are all one element of this social responsibility. It's not just the employee, but let me put this way, you look at the Wanxiang. Wanxiang's name stands for universal. It came from the universal join. On the PowerPoint, you saw our chairman was holding a U join. So the U join has a 4N. So we call those 4N are like a 4 stakeholder in our business. Is the shareholder, is the employee, is the customer, and is the local community. So our slogan is that we want to bring the return to our shareholder. That's our job. We want to bring the future to our employee. That is our job too. We want to bring value to our customer. They're a stakeholder. Without them, we're not going to be, in the business. And also we want to bring the prosperity to the local community. So we try to balance 4 of them. It's not just one. It's just not a shareholder without an employee or employee without a customer. We have to have all 4 balanced. Then we can transform the power for our society. So that is a sort of our slogan. And so other than the employee, which we have many different programs, allow everybody participate. And also we believe invest in the company by the shareholder is the commitment to show the employee that we're all together. This is what the UAW want to hear as well. But also we do with a local community as well. And, like our solar program, we gave the panel to the schools. And then we have many different, like during the COVID, we brought in millions of PPEs and we distributed them into the local hospitals. And I got like 3 or 4 different governors sending us a letter, thank us for, really, we could have saved many lives by getting those PPE from China at that time. So anyway, so I'm just saying, this is our philosophy as well as already in the name of the company.
No, this is the awesome, what you summarized actually is a great conclusion for our discussion today, because I hope everyone can pay attention to the key takeaways. One is we can talk about sustainability all day long, but as Mr. Ni emphasized from the very beginning, it has to be economically viable. So there are a lot of companies such as, A123, the very advanced technology company. If you cannot survive, there's no need to talk about sustainability. And then also another big takeaway, I think, is sustainability is not only about one aspect, one party, as Mr. Ni just mentioned in the end. It's about customer, it's about employee, it's about shareholder, it's about community. It's all entangled together. So thank you, Mr. Ni. I wish we had more time to discuss, but I know you have a very busy schedule, but it's a pleasure to have you visiting us. Thank you for your time. Let's give Mr. Ni a round of applause.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So,
Bye.
bye-bye.